Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we got another exciting Goldwing video for you today. And today I'm going to show you how to change the air filter on your GL1500. It's very easy, very simple. It'll save you a lot of money from taking it to the Honda dealership for sure. And it probably take less than 10 minutes to do all this and everything. So, well, let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to take off this backrest. And usually what I do before I take it off is that I will measure here, and I've already measured it, but I'm just showing you. It's about 2 1/4, somewhere around there. That way when I put it back, I'll remember the exact spot it goes, because if I push it too far back, my poor wife gets squished. And you know, even though I feel great, so we had to make a compromise, and that is about the ideal location for both of us. I told her if she lost about 15 pounds, she wouldn't know the difference, and I got hit over the head, so I probably had that one coming. So anyway, let's get started. So to take these off, you just gotta loosen them up on both sides. Not a big deal. Yeah. And then it'll start coming forward. You'll have to wiggle it out. So let me get that going, and then move on to the next step. Once we got the backrest off, we can go ahead and take the brackets off here. These two here. Now you may have Allen heads. When I added the brackets on here, I had to go to these bolts here because I needed them to be longer and everything. So I got two 13mm bolts here, and all you got to do is screw them out, and it should come off, and the handle will slide right out. And the other side will be the exact same thing, so I'm not going to show that side and everything. So let me get this off. Once you got the bolts free, it should just come right off. Oop, that came off, and you can see there's a spacer. Alright, I'm going to leave that down there so I don't lose it, and then the handle should just wiggle right off. Now the fun part is going to be when you got to line all this back up and get them all to go back in. That is the fun part. Alright, off to the other side. Okay, now that we got both brackets off, the seat should just come right up. There it comes. There she goes. Nothing to it. You just pick up from the back. We'll put that right there. And we're almost there. And everything. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is go ahead and we need to remove this. Oh, a little suction in there. Just got to be a little gentle with it. Alright. That's another part down. Then we can go ahead and take these out. These are always fun. You may have to turn the wheel one way or the other to help you get them out. Get them a little bit. You have to play with that. And there he goes. It comes out. Got one there. All right. One more to go. Oh. Sometimes they like to be finicky. Move that around. Okay, there you go. Now it came out. Okay. All right, now that we got that done, we can get ready to take this off. Okay, we're about ready to take this off here. We just need to, make sure everything's disconnected from it. And we got two 10mm nuts right here. Should be able to take this up and get it up some ways. Then we're gonna have to undo all the wires and everything for the radio, which shouldn't be a big deal. Should be just a couple of pigtails that plug in and an antenna cord. All right, so let me get that going. Okay, before we can get the radio out, we need to get these little compartments out. All right, it ain't very hard holding them on. As you can see, the radio little mount goes underneath there a little bit, so we need to get these out of the way. It's just 4 screws right in there, and it's the same thing on both sides. You can just see the 4 screws and everything. Undo them, and they'll come right out. These are Phillips. I imagine yours is Phillips. So just grab your screwdriver, undo them, and then they should just come out. You might have to wiggle them out a little bit of these knobs. In fact, you might have to take this knob off here. Well, we'll get to that when we get around to that. Okay, so let's take this one off. It should come right off. Alright, once you get all the 4 screws out, you should be able to just work her right out. You might have to kind of fidget a little bit. And there she comes. Out she is. And everything. In case you're wondering what these holes were here for, the last owner, I guess, loved switches and all kinds of things in here. They cut and modified. As you can see, I've got tons of it all over the place, and I took it all off because of the the way they ran the electrical was very, very terrible, and it caused a lot of problems, and we decided to remove everything other than the factory wiring when we rebuilt it and then start over. So eventually that round hole will be my cigarette adapter for my cell phone and everything when we're on trips. I just haven't got around to put it in yet. Alright, now that we got this side off, we can just lay it down and then we can go work on the other side. It should be just the same way. Should be. Okay, just as I thought, on this side we're going to have to take this little knob off here. It's not a big deal. As you can see, it just doesn't get up high enough for it to come out without breaking stuff. And as you can see, someone's already broke something, and this was not me, probably a previous owner or someone trying to get this off and didn't realize you got to take that off. So basically, if you look inside there, you can see there is a little Phillips. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the camera and everything, but it's in there, and you'll just need a little bit of a screwdriver right here like this. A little small tipped one just to get in there. And it shouldn't take more than a few turns. Now when you put this thing back on, it only lines up one way-ish. So it should be, yep, I'm going to have to get a little bit more out of it. It's got to come almost all the way out. A good ways. Let's see if that gets it. Nope. Guess I'm going to have to take that darn screw out almost all the way out. It's just about all the way out. Come on. Alright, I guess I'm going to have to play with this a little bit more. But you're going to have to undo the screw, and it should come out, and don't worry, it only goes back on one way. Okay, after we got the screw out of the knob, it should just slide right out like that. As you can see, it only goes in one way. As you can see, there's a little flat edge there, and it goes right there, so there's no way to put this on incorrectly. Alright, so we'll just put that off here, and then the tray shall come out somewhat a little bit better. Oh, it never fails. This side has always been the pain. Nope. There we go. There we go. She's coming. Sort of. It's just the way this tray is made. Oh, you want to fight me? Yeah, that's the thing with these old things. They love to fight. Okay, it looks like I'll need both hands to kind of help push her out. Okay, after a little pushing and pulling and all kinds of stuff with both hands, just a little bit. Don't get too crazy with this thing. It just pops right out. It's just a very, very tight fit inside there on this side. The other side's not a big deal, but this side is. Okay, before we take this off, I want to point out something real fast. You need to open up your little gas tray door here. And let's see if I can show them to you. But inside in here, you've got two little clips here. I don't know if you can see it with my finger in the way. But these right here, yeah, they're probably not, there we go. See, they go in there and they lock in. And it's what, it grabs that plastic underneath here, the little shelter, and it grabs in there and it helps kind of set it down. So what we have to do is move them on both sides so that they come loose. And a lot of people do forget to do this, have time to move these little clips, but they have these clips in there that holds the bottom end down and everything. So before you take it off, make sure you get in here and make sure these things are loose and they are free. Alright, they should just move right out. Okay, after we've gotten our 10 millimeter nuts off and our trays are out, as you can see, it makes it a lot easier to get the plastic in and out, as that's all it's going to do is just fold in and out. And there, it's out of its little groove. We should be able to pick this up. Just remember not to get too carried away with it and everything, because all the wires are hooked on back of it. So let me get it prepped and I'll show you to get those wires out. Okay, once you have broken it free from its resting place, and I mean real easy, just kind of been working it out a little bit, and you've got it to come loose. You've got to pass those nuts, and it's finally free. Just remember, don't pull and find, because this thing will break real easy if you're not too careful. We can turn our wheel, our handlebars, and then we can get this side out, and then we should be able to flip this around, sort of. I'll have to come in from the other side here and see if I can See, as you can see, there's a rubber cover here. We can just get that off. Go, and then we get to our pins here. Alright. Let me try to get this thing up in a better position so I can record this for you all. Okay, I pulled the wiring harness back a little bit. We just got to remember to put this back in the exact same place along here, and it comes out right here. As you can see, there's an indentation here for that wiring harness. Oh, right here, my bad. Right here for it to come out and sit just properly. So we need to put that back in the right spot. But for the sake of the video, I got this out here. As you can see here, we got one ground wire. Just take a screwdriver to unclip that. A lot of this stuff right here, you may need a screwdriver to, let's see if I can get some of this out. To pry some of these clips out and pull them out. But they come out real easy. And they only go in the one spot, so you cannot mess up. So let me get those off real fast. Okay, once we get all the wires here loose, as you can see, it's not very many and everything. And we got the ground wire undone. We can just move the wiring harness off to the side. And we'll take our device radio here and just put it off somewhere where it won't get damaged. I'm gonna have to put it right here for right now. There you go. Okay, and now we can actually see the air filter to the box. Alright. Not so bad so far, right? Alright. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and break this free. Say that. Yep, there we go. Break it free. And if you have this, now on earlier models you won't have this little sensor here. I think in the 80s you won't have it, but on mine I do, so it just comes right off. Nothing to it. And there should be a bunch of screws. Let's see. I don't have one down there. It's missing. But there is 1, 2, 3. Alright, got one down there. I don't think there's any on the front side and it comes up. So let's see what we got to do to get this off. Okay, I've got all the screws out, or well, almost all of them. But anyway, let's go ahead and take this out. It should just wiggle right up. And there, you know, as you can see in there, there's a little trap door. Little trap door there. All right, let's put that off in the little compartment over there. And then let's see if we can get this, wiggle this off without taking anything else off. Oh, I did forget to mention that there are 2 more screws up here, so get those. Okay, now that we got all the bolts out, it should just come right up. You're gonna have to be careful because this radiator cap's gonna stop us, so you're gonna have to try to little bit pry it where it goes above it, and just kind of wiggle it back and just kind of work it out a little bit. It's just gonna, there it goes. It just comes right out, and voila, we are in our air filter here. Now this air filter doesn't need to be replaced because it's only been on here for a couple thousand miles here. But let's go ahead and see how you get this out. About the same way with the it's a lot easier when the side little shelter pieces are off. There we go. Oh, there it comes. Okay, as you can see, it's not that bad. It's only been on it for a couple thousand miles, so we are good and everything. So we are definitely, we'll put that back in. All right, in case you're wondering, for your carburetor's right down here, and you got to take if you want to start if you never had to replace your carburetor. Since I haven't made a video yet, I'll give you a little pointers real quick on it. But these little side shelters have to come off and everything. And if you have seen my spark plug video about these little, how to take these little plastics off down here, watch that because you'll have to take those off too. All right, and you can see there is 3 bolts here. You need to be very careful with those if you're going to take your try to get access to your carburetor, because they can strip out real easy and then it becomes a real mess. As you can see, some of them mine are look a little worse, but they can be. You just you might penetrate them for a little bit and slowly, but they do kind of freeze up quite a bit, so you have to be very careful there. And then this box will come out. Now there's a lot of hoses that are connected here, so you have to be careful and everything. That's the hardest part about this whole job, is when you got to put it back on and put all these underneath hoses with very little room and get it to smash on there. Not real fun. All right, but after you get all these little top cover shelters off, and should be just a cruise control cable, your accelerator cable, should be 2 of them, your push and pull, and then your water lines, the radiator, like I said in an earlier video, The radiator circulates through the carburetor as well. It keeps it from vapor locking. And you should take that long screwdriver, which I had mentioned in another video, the oddball video tools. You'll definitely need those to do this carburetor job, because you'll need those long pliers, especially with the curve handles, to get in there to undo all these little spring-loaded clamps and lines and get them off and everything to reach them. And then you can use that long screwdriver to come in and get your intake boot. And then once you undo the top one, they should pop right off. Trust me, it's easier said than done. It takes a little bit of time. It can be done, but it's a tedious process that hopefully we will get around to making a video either when this bike needs it, or I get a parts bike, or someone who wants to bring me a bike for the work on. I will definitely make a carburetor video when that time comes. But anyway, for the sake of this video, we're going to stick with our air filter. I'm hoping that helped out you guys for the little tech tip with who's been looking to do a carburetor and everything, that help give you down the right track for right now. All right, now that we got this done, got this off and it looks good, we can put it back in. Now, this is an OME filter. I bought this off eBay, I think, for 36 bucks. Better than the Honda dealership. They wanted like 50 bucks or something. Whatever you go to Honda, they think their parts are worth gold. They just buy them off eBay or buy them somewhere else, third party. I don't care. But that's really what I like using is OME. I use K&N filters on some of my vehicles. It did not work good on my diesel, but But I recommend, if you're looking for a filter, just to get a factory filter. It's just better to use the factory stuff on this stuff, and you can find it from a third-party seller for a lot cheaper and everything. All right, so now that that's in, let's start putting it back together. Okay, now that we got our air filter back in place, it is now time to start putting her back together. So we'll start by putting this back in. Now we might have to wiggle this kind of forward, back and forth a little bit. Yeah, let me try to do it. I got to use both hands to get this back in. Once you got the cover back on, you can go ahead and screw your screws in. You got 3 here, 2 there, and your 2 up here. Then you can go ahead and plug. If you have the plug, if you don't have to worry about this. But go ahead and plug on your plug. Mine's kind of broken, so it doesn't stay on there very good. But as long as it's pushed in there, it'll be fine. So let me get the screws back on, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, next we need to put this on. Now, if this should ever come loose, like you can see it's almost loose here, just give it a good turn. As you can look on that, there's an angle of where it should be facing to give you an idea, and it should catch, keep it from coming out. Alright, so that's if it ever comes loose. Now, next thing we need to do is just go ahead and get this thing back in there, and then make sure it lines up, and then clip her on. Okay, after we get that put back on, you can see it's seated in there nice and neat. We're going to work on our radio cluster. Go ahead and wire everything back up. And make sure once everything's in, you can take the rubber and just push it over, and that'll protect it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and get that. Okay, I've got everything set inside in there. Everything, ground plugs hooked up, so we're ready to put this thing back together. All right, now we're going to make sure that wiring harness gets back in there correctly. So I'm going to have to use both hands here and route it in there, and it should come up right here when there is. That way it just needs to fit in there and just nice and neat. So let me get that done. Okay, now that we got our little cluster sitting here, don't forget to lock in your pins. Just push them out. Make sure it's all set down there nice and tight, and then they should, there they go, snap right in. Okay. And then they're snapped and locked in. And now you can put your nuts down. Alright, get those in, and then this will be back on. Now that we've got our nuts bolted down and it's securely locked in place, let's go ahead and put our little compartments back in, which is nothing to it. This one should just about really just fall right back in. There she goes, bam. This one's the easiest. Alright, and you just lock in your 4 screws, and then this side is done. Okay, so we got our tray back in. We're ready to put our cover back on. Alrighty, we'll just get a few going here. Yeah, now she's starting to look good. Also, make sure when you put the tray back in that you got your intercom cord out. There's a special slot in there, if you can see, where the cord should be run. So make sure. Alright, now that we got this all back on, we can move on to the troublemaker side. Okay, I got this side kind of prepped. I just wanted to show you when you're getting ready to put in. You can see how tight it is. You might have to just kind of fudge it. See how it just rolls right in there? And then just falls right into place. And everything. So let's put our screws on, then we can put our knob back on. Alright, we got our 4 screws in. Nothing to it. Alright, now before we put the knob on, I want to just make sure I make this clear. That the knob goes on one way. So don't be beating it on like, why is it not going on? It only goes on one way. Make sure you match it all up and fit it on there. Alright. Another thing is when you get ready to put the screw on, this little screw right here, don't get too carried away and tighten it down too tight. Alright. Just get it tight. It'll stay in. It won't fall out, I promise. And everything, because if you damage this, alright, this is a lot of work to replace this if you damage it or whatever, or you know, for the screw. So let's not damage it, okay? So just put it in there tight. Don't get too carried away. Just tight. Don't need to go Armstrong crazy there. Now I'm going to put it in there, get my screwdriver, and we'll just turn it down and just give it a little bit of a tit, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, our knob is on there, so we can put our cover back on. This goes right in there. Turn the key. Should just, there it goes, bam, locked into place. All right, now we can straighten that up. Now either we can put these side covers in first or put this in here first. It doesn't matter. It all goes in just fine. All right, I guess that wiring harness I told you guys about earlier is just not going to sit in its right place. That's fine. Maybe I was incorrect about that. So as long as it has the plastic can get in there, sit will be okay. Alrighty, so let's get that moving. Alright, to get this piece back in, we just got to kind of get it through here. Now you might have to move the handlebars back and forth and everything, but you need to make sure that these little slots that you see on here fit into the certain grooves. You can see where the holes are. They need to go in there, alright? And you can see the one up there for that one needs to go in there. So, this is always so difficult doing it from one hand. Okay, after a little fiddling and mooshing around and moving and everything, once you get them start going in the holes, they pop right in. Okay, not perfect, but you know, what do you expect for something that's over 20 years old? Guess we should be happy if it still runs. Then again, it is a Honda. Okay. All right, for the final piece here, as you can see here, we got one little tip there that goes right into that middle groove, and then you got 2 little buttons. So let's get those things put in. And bam, bam. Might have to give it a little push here and there to make sure it all nicely, there it goes, slips in there. Okay, now that's on. We're almost done, guys. And all we got left here is this seat. So let me get all my tools off the seat and get the seat prepped and lined up. Okay, before I put the seat on, I want to point out something, but before you get too much further, make sure that make sure that your radio still works and everything. Just turn the key on and make sure everything still plays. I can't play anything for y'all, otherwise I'll get copyright violations or anything like that. But I already tested mine and mine works, so just make sure it works before you go before you get too much back together and realize, oh, I missed something and everything. All right, now for the seat here, I want to point out, in case some of you, for you new Goldwingers out there, but you see that little nub down there? It goes, let me move this back, right in there. So you will slip this front side in first, then lay the back down. In fact, let's see if I can get that to go. Just like that, bam, nothing to it. Well, I said that. Nope, didn't go in there. It made me a liar. Okay, there it goes. Now it's in there. Easy said. Now the hard part is going to be relining up the holes, the spacers, to get all the brackets in there, and that's going to take a little bit of time. You might have to push on it, lean it, you know, move it until it all lines up, and then stab it all back in there. So first thing we need to do is get the brackets and try to get them all started. Don't tighten them down. Just get all 4 started. And once they're all 4 started and they're going, then you can just tighten them down, and then it's home free from there. Okay, once you get all 4 bolts started, you can tighten them down. If you got one of those little electric impacts, which I do have one, you can just go zip zip and it's done. But since I'm so lazy to get it out, I'm going to use Old Faithful here. Alright, this will be a while, so I'll get back to you guys in just a second. Once you got everything tightened down, you're ready for the last piece, the backrest. All right, now I'm going to need both hands here to get this thing in, but you just line her up and shove her in, lock it, and then just turn it, and then it should lock into place. So let me get that all set up. All right, once you got everything all set up and everything, you just tighten them up until they just stop. You don't have to get too crazy with them. That's nice and tight right there. And you do the other side, and then we are done. All right, guys, that's it. And that's how simple it is to change your air filter on your GL1500. So I'm hoping the next time you need to change your air filter that you'll take the initiative and do it yourself and save you money. Let me tell you, it'll save you big bucks from going to the Honda dealership and everything. So if you've liked this video or if it helped you out in any way, please give it a big thumbs up. Yeah, there's the big thumbs, dirty thumbs up, yeah. And everything, and share this with your friends if they're needing this help. Please share these videos and everything. You can also subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this or would like to see other content that I do, review, or we mostly hit Goldwings. We've been doing, like I said, our last couple videos was Volkswagens over there and everything. And we do some Harbor Freight tool reviews and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, please subscribe to the channel and everything. We'd love to have you and everything. Also, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all that other good stuff and everything. So if you got any other Goldwing questions, feel free to ask me. I try to get back to you guys as soon as possible and help you out. I know I went off a little off topic during the middle of the video and talked about carburetors. That has been a big question about how to do carburetors. And guys, I am trying my best to find a video or find a motorcycle or somebody or that would like, you know, that I could do carburetor, that needs carburetors and everything, and show them how to do it and everything. I'm not tearing down my perfectly good running bike that far for that. Sorry, guys. But I will do it when it needs to be done and show you guys how to do it. But I am on the hunt for something, so just letting you know that's a little update. We are looking for a little parts bike that I can show you guys how to do that kind of stuff on. All right, guys, it's been fun and everything. Like I said, subscribe. And if you'd like to see more videos, and be sure to answer the poll questions in front of the videos. It really helps me out when you guys answer those. Let me know. It kind of lets me know what you guys want to see and everything. So guys, until next time, stay safe out there.